I'm here today with Chris Pattinson, whose wife had a heart event 2 years ago. And as a result, Chris had to research the science around healthy diets for himself. And in doing so, he made great changes to his own health. So we're going to hear his story now. Delighted to meet you, Chris.
And you, Ivor. Yeah,
Very
it's a
good.
pleasure.
So maybe we go back to, well, around the time your wife had the event.
Yeah, well, I was away on holiday in Scotland, a little remote cottage in the middle of nowhere. We decided to nip out on this Sunday morning, and wife said, got a bit of heartburn. Can we find a shop or a chemist or something? So yeah, Scotland, Sunday morning, middle of October, nothing open. So we're driving around, about an hour, I would have said, and pulls up to this junction. I looks across and says, are you okay? She goes, I think I need a doctor. Well, we're it. Heather never goes to see a doctor, so I knew there was something wrong. So it was sort of like foot down, get to the next town as quickly as possible. How the hell am I going to find a hospital? I don't know the place. Somebody was looking down on us, must have been, because as we come around this corner, hospital in front of us. Drove in, they saw her, put her in the wheelchair and wheeled her off. I was wandering around for about half an hour, didn't hear anything. They come out, took me into this room, got me to sit down. Says, we brought her in within 4 minutes, her eyes started rolling, passed out, unconscious. But luckily, the defibrillator managed to bring her back, and yeah, they saved her. But 4 minutes more, and it would have been a different story. Game over. So, yes.
That's very, very upsetting. And then afterwards, I suppose, when you get through the recovery process, then you've got to see, well, okay, what do you change in lifestyle or diet?
Exactly. Yeah, they sent us out with these leaflets from an organisation, I think they were called Heart UK, and it's all low fat, do this, do that, and also, oh, by the way, you're type 2 diabetic as well, as if it was something totally different, unrelated. So I knew we've got to change things. My sister, she's a nutritionist in Canada, and she's always taught us the paleo way. So we thought we were eating clean. We'd cut out the grains, we're just eating real food, but plenty of fruit and vegetables, having this 5 a day like they tell us to have. But obviously we're up on the carbs. Now, I've got a bit of experience with diabetes. My father went blind with it. My grandmother got it in later life. She had her leg amputated. So I know, you know, it's not nice. So Heather didn't want to go on drugs. She didn't want the metformin and all the rest of it later on life with the insulin. So I'd seen Dr. Chatterjee on the TV reverse diabetes with a low carb diet in the program he does, where he goes and lives with the people. So I thought, I can do that. Well, I've got two things. I've got the low carb to try and treat the diabetes, but I've also got to do low fat as well to treat the heart disease, or so I thought. So, as you do, onto Google, low carb recipes. I thought I'll try and fix the diabetes first. I know a bit about that, then we'll look at the heart disease afterwards. So, and that's how I ended up on Diet Doctor's website. And then I spotted your video, the engineer that knows more than your doctor or something along that lines. And so I went off to your blog, and the first video I saw, the cholesterol conundrum. Brilliant, this might teach me something. So I got a quarter of the way into it. Yeah, it's starting to go in. Kept rewinding it and going back and rewinding and going back, and I finally got to it. But yeah, it's making sense now. And the bit that was a light bulb going on, you showed a little mouse with LDL on it, and then there was a big elephant with insulin. I thought, that's it, it's just one dragon to slay. It's not something totally different. It's all caused by insulin resistance. It's the same thing. And that sent us down the low carb, high fat road. And that was from your video, basically.
Great to hear that, Chris, and glad it helped. But yeah, that is a hugely important point, that we appear to be fighting different problems with different diets, but it's really not true.
No,
the big driver is insulin dysregulation, driving cardiac disease, also driving the diabetes, and many other things too.
Yeah.
And when you kind of realized this, like you said, a light bulb, you then had to, well, you were already applying low carb from Diet Doctor, so you're already well on the way. You just continued to do that?
So basically that's what we do now, the low carb, the high fat, but keep it real food. So it's pretty easy, to be honest with you. A lot of people say, well, don't you miss things? All the sugars and the potatoes and all that lot, the breads. We'd already cut a lot of that out by my sister's advice to do the paleo thing beforehand. Just cutting the carbs down was really easy after that, to be honest with you.
not so hard. And of course, well, on Diet Doctor and other websites, there's loads of recipes too, so
Exactly.
it's a huge variety as well you can apply.
Yeah.
And in terms of weight loss as well, I think you yourself lost quite a lot of weight by
I've lost
applying.
3.5 stone. Yeah.
Oh, 3.5 stone, which is probably around 20 plus kilos
Yes,
for
yeah.
the Europeans.
Yes, yeah.
That's pretty impressive, probably even higher.
Yeah.
And that, I think you also had inflammatory issues like back pain and other joint
yes.
pain.
Yeah, I've had it for the best part of 20 years now. I was a HGV engineer, got out of that and got to sitting behind a desk because of the back pain. It was giving me some serious pain. You know, half a dozen paracetamols a day just to, you know, be able to get to work. So I got out of that and I thought, I've damaged myself lying on the trucks, the side of the road all these years. I've not looked after myself, that's what it is. 18 months of low carb, back pain's gone, totally.
So a lot of these inflammatory conditions, and you know, they all have common roots in the same way that the cardiovascular disease and the diabetes have common roots.
Yes,
so that's really interesting. So what would be your top tips for people now, having gone through this journey and yourself and your wife having greatly improved your enjoyment of life and your health? What would your top tips be for people?
It would be, keep it simple, low carb diet, real food. I do see a lot of people who are doing ketogenic diets and they've got the blinkers on, and it's all about that 20 grams and the so much of protein, and they're stuffing themselves with sugar-free jellies and things that are low carb, diet sodas and all that sort of thing. Just keep it simple, real food. Yeah.
Eat real food, which
real
is
food.
becoming a much more common rallying cry for everyone around the world.
Yes.
Well, delighted to talk to you, Chris.
Yes, and you are.
We'll see you
it's been
again.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.